Right, in this video you can see that Precor AMT. We're going to discuss how to get all the covers off so we can access belts and drive units. Let's go ahead and start this video. Alright, we removed this little back step, just lifts right up, no screws, no nothing. Then this center plastic portion, you just lift up towards the rear of the unit, slide it forward a little bit, comes right off as well. Now we're going to go over to the front of the unit. This little rubber gasket, be sure, just pops right out, lift it up, and it'll hold itself on that tube right there. Then I want you to see on this light gray, I'm pointing to this little shiny triangle. There it is. That's a push point, and then the dark gray you kind of lift on. So I just pop it with my palm. Pop it with my palm while lifting up on the darker gray. And then that whole center piece, all the way down to the ground, pulls away. Set it outside of the legs, off to the side, and you have access to some of your belts. Now back to the front of the unit. There's one push point right there. I messed with it a little bit, but you're going to see there's a screw on each side. I recommend removing it, just creates a little more room. See that screw by my thumb? Go ahead and remove that first. Eventually I get to it. Boom. There's one on each side. That gives a little bit of space. There's going to be that triangle right there. If you would push on that, it'd make it a little bit easier. The bottom of it swings towards the rear of the unit, and you can move it right away. Now we're going to go to the other side. Remove that screw. If you push on that triangle, kind of pull it away at the same time, pops right off. Be careful, that front part at that point will just pop right off, and the side, and it exposes the belts right there. Now we want to remove this dark gray portion. There's a screw right there, and if you swing around towards the back, there's a screw right there and a screw down there. 3 screws, then you got 4 screws, 5 and 6. This will remove this gray, darker gray cover, which gives you full access to the belts. I'm just going to remove this user left gray panel to expose the belts. If you want to get rid of that user right, you would just remove the screws on the other side as well. Just removing the top. Then the bottom, the gray part, just lifts and pulls away. If you need to do any work on these belts, if you take tension off by lifting that up, that foot pedal up, makes that belt light, and you can remove both those belts. Just walk them off and walk the new ones on. Just watch your fingers as always. Now we're going to reassemble, and it's just doing the whole thing in reverse. Line this unit back up. This little plastic cover. Get your screws. I like to, when I screw these in, don't screw them in all the way. Gives you some play to align the other screw holes. Also, you see me using a Milwaukee M12 battery operated little screwdriver. When you're attaching plastic, make sure you chuck it down to like a 2, 3, or 4. Remember, plastic screw or metal screws into plastic, you can crack plastic. Also use the skill of, here it shows me chucking it down. Also use the art or skill of feathering the trigger. The lighter you pull on the trigger, the slower the screwdriver. If you can't handle that, just use a hand tool. That way you don't crack no plastic. So I'm finishing up all the screws, get it all snug. This other one, fast forward if you need to. Alright, now we just got the 2 screws for this front plastic. I recommend lining up this front portion and then putting those screws into place. We're going to unscrew them as we put in the side panels, but this will just hold it up so it doesn't want to slide off on you. So in this video, I screw them down all the way. I would just start them a little bit just to hold them, because you're going to remove them one by one as you slide on the side plastic. So like I said, screw them in a little bit. Making sure to line it up with the female thread of the dark gray. There we go. Side. So now take it, put the bottom towards the rear and kind of just swing it around the metal tube. Go ahead, line up your sides. Looking at that part's going to sneak under, and this is why I kind of mess with it a little bit before I unscrew it. But unscrew that at this point, you would unscrew that, just that one screw right there, and that bottom part will slide in a lot easier. It takes me a second to figure it out. There we go. Go ahead and unscrew this now. Remember, the other side's on there to hold it in place. This will give you enough room. That slides under, and you'll feel the clicking and the popping. Goes together pretty simple after that. Make sure all your sides, corners are good, nice and clean. Once it pops in, then you could send this screw. Now we're going to go to the other side. Unscrew the screw this time. That way to give us the play. There you go. Slide it into place. Make sure the top part gets behind. There you go. If you need to, take a picture of this from the beginnings. Or if you got another unit, make sure it looks clean. So you gotta follow the line, the seam, make sure it looks all clean, screw the screw back in. That's it for screws. Now everything just clicks and pops. You get that long upright portion. Slide it in towards the bottom. And make sure you pull that rubber gasket up. Sometimes it falls down and you close it around, lift it up, pop it, click it into place. Pop the bottom, slide that in. There you go. Now that skinny center portion, there's these two holes in it. That's kind of where it, in essence, clicks in, for lack of a better term. Wide end goes towards the front of the unit, clicks right in there. And the foot pad sets right on top, and you're done.